Hello, all you weirdos. Jim here, and it's the third week of Night Terrors, and I'm here with a special early review of Night Terrors Superman #1. And if you're wondering, no, DC didn't give us back the review copies. They still hate us. But to all you kids listening, when you do things the right way and don't fake the funk, it's amazing how many people are willing to help you out. It is really a true summer-ween miracle.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
As I said, this is the review for Night Terrors Superman #1, written by Joshua Williamson with art by Tom Reilly. And obviously, it's still early to make any final judgments about this whole Night Terrors thing. I know some people are probably giggling as I say that, but I think it would be silly to say that I'm not worried. These tie-ins are unnecessary cash grabs. While the idea that Insomnia is searching through the heroes' and villains' nightmares for the Nightmare Stone is kind of cool, we don't really get to see that happening much, and instead have been getting generic feeling issues that mostly have given us the overtold greatest hit fears of our favorite characters. Stuff like, get this, Batman in the alley, Hal Jordan at his father's funeral, and the Joker working a day job. So what are we going to get with Superman? I think you might be able to guess, but hey, let's find out. The issue picks up from where we last saw Superman in the Hall of Justice, with Batman, Wonder Woman, and Deadman having just discovered the dead, quote-unquote, body of Dr. Destiny, John D. Superman is flying off to join Supercorp when the nightmare wave hits, and away we go. Superman's nightmare begins at the Daily Planet, and while the art by Tom Reilly, with cool classic character and costume changes going on with Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane, is really good, the story had an uneven pacing throughout, which made it feel like a bunch of scenes just mashed together. One thing I did like, though, was Superman's sleeping body in the waking world ends up crashing into the ocean, and that does affect his nightmare, where a sudden tidal wave hits Metropolis. The nightmare of not being able to save everyone quickly evaporates, though, as Superman really quickly realizes that he's in a dream. Now, after a brief confrontation with Insomnia, which I wish went more, I wish you had more of Insomnia, get that whole deal of him looking for the Nightmare Stone in these books, but he kind of just goes away, and what we get is a nightmarish mashup of A Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life, as Superman fights a very death metal dark multiverse alt-Superman who might as well be called the Superman who talks shit. After the Superman who talks shit shows Kal the destruction of Krypton, again greatest hits, and tries to convince him that he was the worst thing that ever happened to Earth, Kal defeats him just as Supergirl bashes her way into his dream. It's just more make up the rules as you go nonsense that is plaguing a lot of the books in this event. The problem is there really hasn't been any really set rules to any of this, and it does feel like people are just making things up on a whim to suit their story. I've said it about Joshua Williamson already in the bunch of books he's written, and he does it again here. And it really is more frustrating when it's Joshua Williamson, the so-called architect of all this. It just keeps doing it. He's just making up things as he goes. And why is Supergirl bashing her way into Superman's nightmares as if Joshua Williamson doesn't really have that much in his mind to do with Superman? Now, the issue ends with Supergirl's nightmares bleeding into Kal, so they have something to fight in the second issue, and a cliffhanger that I won't spoil, especially because this is an early review. But this cliffhanger should be awesome. There's probably still going to be people that are kind of pumped up, but the way it plays out, it's kind of confusing, but it's also written in a way that I have no idea. Is it supposed to be serious, or is it just a joke? The way it is written, it's a joke, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how all that works out. Now, while the beginning of the issue gave me a little bit of hope that this book would tie into the main Night Terrors event in a big enough way to make it essential reading, Joshua Williamson seemed to have no real idea what to do with Kal, so he just throws him in random scenes and then has Supergirl show up. But I like the art throughout. I think Tom Reilly's art was really good, but this is just another tie-in that proves that Night Terror should have been nothing more than a self-contained miniseries or Justice League event, not a full line-wide event that shut everything down, put brakes on the Dawn of DC for 2 whole months. I'm giving this issue a 5.5 out of 10. Maybe, if you can catch me in a good moment, I could go up to a 6 because I really did like the art and I liked the way it started. Just ended up with just a mishmash of nonsense. But I'd love to hear what everyone else thinks about it and Night Terrors in general. Maybe let me know what you're doing to celebrate Summerween this year. I love it. So also a reminder to check out the links in the show notes. I end up having the links to everything Weird Science, including our DC and Marvel websites and podcasts, as well as all of our manga shows. So thanks, everybody. Let me know what you thought in the comments, as I said, and I'll talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.